Hola, Ateyeros. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live match review. I wasn't gonna do this one live initially, but I ran out of time to kind of do a pre-recorded video. I had other things to do, but I decided to hop on. Probably won't get many people in here because I know they're on the other channels watching their previews. But if you do hop in, thanks for stopping by. And let's talk today's match. Let's talk Arsenal versus Chelsea. It's a big one. It's going on in about 45 minutes time. Uh, and I, for one, I'm gassed. I'm gassed for it. It's an opportunity for us to kind of put things together. It's an opportunity to, as I said in the ammo check, it's an opportunity for us to kind of stamp our authority on the title race. It's coming down to the wire. It's the last 10 matches of the year, of the season, and yeah, it's definitely an opportunity for us to kind of say we're in it. We already saw that Man City won, and that means that I think they're 2 points behind us with a game in hand. Squeaky bum time. I mean, it's definitely close, but as I said, on the ammo check, as I said on BBK's channel, uh, we just got to worry about us. We got to worry about us doing what we have to do to ensure that we're champions. I can't rely on Manchester City to drop points. I can't rely on our rivals to try to take points off of them. The only thing I can rely on is Arsenal doing our business. And it starts today. It is the 1st of March. By 1st of April, we'll know what we have. We'll know whether we're champions of something and possibility of being champions of something else, or if it's just going to end as the last 3 years did. So, with that being said, as I said, the match is today, 4:30, which means it's 11:30 for my South Florida Gunners, and I'm gassed for it, man. I'm gassed for it. The lineup has come out, and that's the reason I kind of delayed things as well, so that the lineup could come out and we see what we have. And it's a little bit interesting, man. The lineup is definitely interesting. Let me pull it up here. There we go. So you've got Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Capia. That's what you kind of expect for our back five. Timber's playing a lot, and I would like for him to get a little bit more time, a little bit more rest. But we're at the crunch time now, so I doubt that if they haven't gotten rest now, they're probably not going to get much rest in crunch time. In the midfield, as I said on BBK's channel, Rice and Zubimendi, if they can walk, they're going to play. And then in front of them, Ezra gets another start, which I think is great. He's got the hot hand. And I think the most important thing is a striker who's starting in front of him, which is Gyökeres. I think that, as I said, he's used to playing with a big lumbering shot. Mateta is kind of similar to Gyökeres, and yeah, it's the same. It's kind of, he's used to getting that big target man, and I think if we can get those two working together, then we can get something cooking, man. We'll have something cooking. And then on the left wing, Trossard, which you figure, and then Saka on the right wing. If he can walk, if he can limp, he's gonna play. The bench, you have Kepa, Mosquera, Jesus, Martinelli, Norgard, Madueke, Havertz, Calafiore, and Lewis Skelly. I think the interesting thing that you don't see is Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard's not there. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know what's going on. But it's kind of interesting that you don't see Odegaard. I don't think it should stop anything. I don't think it should stop. I don't think it should stop us from winning. Honestly, you look at that lineup. Now, there are a couple players that I am kind of worried about as far as fitness. And that's Zubimendi and Timber, man. I think that Zubimendi has a lot of miles on his legs. I think that Timber, likewise, has a lot of miles on his leg. And what I like to see is first half, if we've got a lead, maybe changing one of them at halftime, depending on how big the lead is. Let's say we go up 2-0. I like to see maybe Norgard come in and have an opportunity to kind of shore things up. I like to see Ben White come in, but he is also not on the bench, unfortunately. So um, it seems like if Timber has to get changed, it's probably gonna be Mascara to come back and deputize for him, which I think Mascara is more than good enough to deputize. But yeah, with White not being in there, with Odegaard not being in there, Havertz is back. I do expect Havertz to get some minutes. I think maybe 65, 70, 70th minute, I think our manager will change everything. Um, and I think that will kind of turn things over, depending on how the game's going. With Trossard, as we know, he can't play a full 90 minutes. I mean, he can, but he'll start to fade. And I think that's when Martinelli comes on. I like to see that as well. I think Gyökeres will probably get subbed around the 65th, 70th minute. He might stay on the full 90, but I just know that with what else we have going on, so we got a trip to Brighton. I think if we're up, then we'll see Gyökeres come on for Jesus, because our manager likes to make like-for-like subs. Lewis Skelly will probably come on as well at some point. It would be nice if maybe they gave him a run out for maybe Rice, because I think Zubimendi will stay on. I would like Zubimendi to stay off, but if he took Zubimendi and Rice on, then I'd like to see Norgard and Lewis Skelly come on. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for our rotation. So I think our subs will be Mascara, Jesus, Martinelli, Norgard, and Lewis Skelly. Havertz will probably come on, so it means that I feel like Mascara probably won't. Because if I'm thinking of, I think the least likely person to get subbed is probably going to be, you got Madueke on there. I'd like Saka to be subbed. I don't know. That's a good question, actually. Who would our subs be? I think Saka needs a rest. I think Timber needs a rest, and I think Zubimendi needs a rest. That's what I like to see. So maybe from that, I think that it'll probably be Mascara, hopefully Norgard, and then take off Saka from Madueke. And then if I'm thinking, it'll probably take off Eze for Havertz, and then he'll take off Trossard for Martinelli, and that'll be the 5. That's what I think. Thinking back on it, I think that's what I don't think Lewis Skelly will get a. I'd like to see Lewis Skelly, but with 5 subs, he might not. I'd like to see him in the middle, but yeah, that's what I think he'll do for subs. As far as the score, and I've been very consistent with the score. I've been very consistent on how I think that the game is going to go. I think it's going to be 3-1. I think it's going to be 3-1, just for the simple fact that our clean sheets come and go. So one match will be Imperious. They won't get anything. But Chelsea are not a team that I expect to keep a clean sheet. As we saw last time, what's his name? Garnacho came on and scored. He has that in his locker. Enzo, those guys can get a jammy goal. Cole Palmer still, those guys can get a goal. So I wouldn't expect a clean sheet, but I do expect a good performance. We're at home. As I said, it's the start of our championship running. It's the start of the title running. And what we need more than ever is for us to have a performance in which we actually put our best foot forward. We need to get the 3 points, but we need to do it in a sense where we're saying, Man City, we see that you keep winning, but we're here. We're there and thereabouts, and that's what we need. Big up Godfrey. Why you not at the Emirates, bro? Big up Gooner Rican TV. I don't go often. I don't go to the Emirates often. Partially because it's not good for my health, but also because, I don't live in London. I live about an hour and a half away from London. It's a little bit of a trek, especially to do. Saturday is a little bit easier to go, but Sundays are a little bit of a trek. And then, as I said, I don't have access to an everyday ticket. I get, my mate goes when he doesn't go, then I get offered the ticket. Sometimes with the ballot, it's crazy, so I don't really go that often. Plus, I prefer, doing the pub thing, I prefer being at home. I like that bit. I like watching from home and the safety of my own house. I won't say safety, but like the sanctity of my own house. So yeah, I mean I do go often, but I mean I've been 10 times over the last 6 7 years, so I go when I can. And I usually try to pick a match that I think we're gonna win. Man United, Brighton, you know, but it doesn't always work out that way. So for this match, I think I'll stay at home. But thanks for popping in, Godfrey. Godfrey, if you're in here still, what's your prediction? What's your prediction for today's match? Um, as I said, he said you're feeling confident. I am, man. I am feeling confident. I feel that it's Chelsea, and I know that they're tough, but this isn't the Chelsea. This ain't Aiden Hazard, Jose Mourinho Chelsea. Like this Chelsea that's the same thing. 3-1 Arsenal. That's the same thing I said. This Chelsea isn't. They're in a state of flux, and we're in a title race, man. Like Man City won, so we're in a title race. We have to be confident. We have to be. We have to go and put our chest out and say, hey, same Godfrey. I would love to see a clean sheet though. Been a while. I said the same, but with how we play, with how we do matches every now and then, it's on and off with the clean sheets. One match you'd be like, oh, we're imperious, and one match we'll score a goal. You'd be like, this is it. Wolves game. Like if you had asked me when we're up 2-0 if we would end up drawing that game, I'd have told you there's no chance. There's no chance that we're drawing the game. There's no chance we're conceding from here. We got it. It's over. But as we saw, things happen. So, I used to predict clean sheets, man, but I stopped doing it because we will score a goal, we'll look imperious, and then we'll let a goal in. And it's kind of embarrassing. So, Godfrey again, yeah, exactly. City are breathing down our necks. We need a convincing win. We do. We need. I've said this time and time again. We need to go there and say, you know what? This title is ours. We want it, and if you want it from us, City, you're gonna have to take it. You're gonna have to be perfect. That's how we have to be. We're still in the lead. We still have a 2-point lead. Yes, they have a game in hand, but that game in hand isn't always guaranteed to win. We've had game in hands that we haven't won. The game against Wolves, which was moved forward, which we thought we should have won. It should have been comfortable. Imagine we win that game instead of drawing, and now we're instead of 6 points, we're 8 points ahead, and City's just won, and we're still 4 points ahead. So even if they win that game in hand, it's okay. We still got a point, but we didn't. So this match is a must win. I am feeling confident, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Because usually when I feel confident, I have to come and return back to this area and say, I can't believe it. I'm shaking my head. I'm doing this. I'm embarrassed. And I don't want that to be. As I said in my live yesterday, listen, the next 90 days, I'm letting dopamine take me. Next 90 days, next 3 months, I'm letting dopamine take me. I'm backing it to the hilt, whether we win, lose, or draw. I do that with Arsenal. But I'm not gonna be bent out of shape if it doesn't go our way. All right, I'm just gonna go all in. I'm going all in next 90 days because I cannot believe, and I don't believe that in the next 3 months from this position that we're in the title, in the Champions League, in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup, we do not walk away June 1st with at least a trophy. That's how I'm feeling. If we walk away with no trophies, if we don't win the Carabao Cup, if we blow the league, if we get knocked out in the semifinals of the Champions League, if we get knocked out in the FA Cup, we end up with nothing. There's no excuses. There's no running. There's no one else can take the blame except for our manager. No, there's no one to blame. You can't blame the board. You can't blame the manager. You can't blame the fan. You can't blame YouTube. There's no one to blame. The ref, the air, the water, the ball, nothing. Nothing. Garrett said we should at least be walking away with 2, in my opinion. I agree. We should have 1 domestic trophy and 1 of the big ones. And I think the big one should be the league. Because it's hard to say that we're going to win the Champions League because we've never done it. If we were like Liverpool and we had won, the Champions League a couple times, you would walk away and say, we've done it a couple times. I think we can do it again. But it's something we've never done. We've always fallen short in the Champions League. We've always fallen short in Europe. But I expect the Carabao Cup in the league. And if we don't win the Carabao Cup, then I expect the FA Cup in the league. For me, Godfrey, the league is the end-all, be-all. And as much as I would love the Champions League, as much as I would love to be there, talking to the rivals and saying we've won it, I want to win the league. Because for me, the league is more of a testament on how dominant you are. If you go 38 games and you win, as we've seen in the Champions League, our side is easy. We can definitely win the Champions League. And people will say, oh, but you had the easiest side, right? You had the easiest. It's luck. The Champions League is luck, historically. It's who you get drawn against, when the games fall, what leg is the home leg or the away leg. The league, you're playing these teams home and away. You're playing 19 teams home and away, right? And if you win the title, you are the best in the best league in the world. That's what I want. I want to be able to say we are the best in England first. I'm not saying I don't want the Champions League, but I want to be able to say we have conquered England first. Not only have we conquered England, we've beaten Arne Slot, we've beaten Pep Guardiola, we've beaten Unai Emery, we've beaten Chelsea, because I don't think beating Rossini is a thing. So, we've beaten some of the best teams. And those teams, what was it? 6 English teams in the Champions League? Like, we're better than all of them. That's what I want. We finished first and conceded 4. So I think we deserved the lucky draw. We did. And as I said in the ammo check, that draw is easy. That I expect at least a semifinal. Bodo Glimt, we should be beating. Sporting, we should be beating. Leverkusen, we should be beating. Now, when we get to the semifinal, if we come up against Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, it's a different conversation. But we should at least be in the semis. But I can't think about that right now. I want the league. That is what I want. I want the bragging rights to be able to walk down into Portsmouth City Centre. I want to be able to walk down into Southampton City Centre. I want to be able to walk the streets of London and everybody looking at me with this kid on saying, that Arsenal, they did it. We bantered them for 20 years and they finally did it. That's what I want. That is all I can think about. That's all I want. So, yeah, man, I can't think past that. I can't think past wanting bragging rights. I work with Spuds fans, Man United fans. When Man United win, when we lose, my phone gets blown up. And for one summer, I want to walk in the streets of Spain, the streets of Italy, Portugal. I want to walk on holiday with my kid and people just saying, that Arsenal, they did it. Like, that's what I want. And you can get that with the Champions League. But I feel like the Prem is, for me, it's the end-all, be-all. So, yeah, and it starts today. It starts today with Chelsea. It starts with, as Godfrey said, I want a performance. I want to leave this match. I want to do my match review and come out and say, you know what? We were awesome. We played them off the park. Chelsea are not in our league. We want this title. That's what I want at the end of the day. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a good performance with that lineup that we said, and I'll go through it again in case, you guys didn't see it. See if I can pop it up. There you go. Right? Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapie, Rice, Zubamendi, Eza, Saka, Trossard, and Gyökeres. That team right there with Eza, Saka, Gyökeres, attacking. Rice, and Zubamendi holding it down. I think that's good enough. I think with Hincapie, we've seen a little bit more ability to go forward as well. We should definitely leave here with 3 points. Not leave here because we're at home, but we should leave the game with 3 points. And anything less than 3 points is tough. Because if we fall now, imagine that we only get a point. Now we're 3 ahead of City and they got a game in hand. It's tough. It's long. So yeah, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that we get the 3 points. I'm hoping that we put forth a good performance. And I'm hoping that I can come here. And I might do a post live. I haven't done a post. I usually do them on TikTok. I haven't done a lot of post kind of matches because I know a lot of people do post match reactions, and um, yeah, I like to watch other people's post match reactions. But depending on how the match go, if I let the dopamine take me, as I said, and we win 4-1, yeah, I might hop back on here and let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's chat. You know, um, likewise, if we lose 4-1, I might be fuming and I might have to come on here and vent. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Godfrey, for popping in. Thank you, anybody else who stopped in and said stuff. And hopefully, guys, I'll see you on the end of this match with the win, with the 3 points, and with straight dopamine, man. Y'all take it easy.